Well, we got through a little bit of it. I was prepared to go the whole show. Stephen Ellis, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Good. Security,
long time.
Security was a bit of fun getting up here.
What happened? You've been here every day.
Yeah, but none of the security entrances were open. They were all closed. Like one guy went on a break just as I got there, and it was a fun walk up here.
Why? And you're sweating. So just
it's a warm day.
It's a warm.
Not in this rink. Not in this rink. It is freezing cold.
You will be done with the sweat soon.
Yes.
But if you notice, Stephen, look at this. Look at this guy. Do you need a minute?
No, I'm good. No, I feel good.
Okay. Last time I saw you was on the street in Montreal. Remember when you flagged me down?
NHL draft, yeah.
Stanley Cup Finals. Yes. I appreciate you doing that, by the way. I haven't forgot. Have you noticed it gets colder the higher up you go in this barn?
Oh, yeah. So I've been in a lot of rinks in the summer, so I didn't think of bringing a coat with me. Thinking, Edmonton weather's great, awesome.
It's summertime, yeah.
Oh no. I was quite not enjoying the first few days, so I had to go find one.
Like a Suco, you mean?
Yeah, literally didn't bring anything. I brought a lot of short sleeves. I thought this would be great. No, it is so cold in this building at all times.
I was telling just before you showed up that I'm trying to go as long as I can in my Bet Regal golf shirt before I throw on this jacket, because I know how cold it is in here. Okay. So I appreciate you coming down, by the way, man. And you do a fine job. He's with the Hockey News, the greatest hockey periodical there's ever been and ever will be. Do you feel that we've gotten into the dog days of this tournament, that it's been a grind, or it just goes so fast you don't have time to feel that way?
Well, when you're at the rink 14 hours a day, I could say it's definitely been a lot. But no, it's been fun. It's been maybe not a ton of great games that will be very memorable. Obviously, the Latvia game was a lot of fun yesterday, but for the most part, it's been. We're starting to get to the fun stuff. Today is where things get decided. Obviously, if no relegation round, there's a lot less stakes on the line. It's eight of the 10 teams always will make it to the next round, so that doesn't change. But no teams going down. The teams are eliminated, just go home. So it's not as fun in that part.
Yeah.
But we're getting to the good stuff. That's the part that matters.
Well, for sure. And take us behind the scenes, if you will. I think I know I'm enjoying this. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm sure the viewers are too, but I'm enjoying this chat with you. You mentioned the 12, 14 hours per day. I'm not doing that. I'm in and out. I'm watching some games from the hotel. I'm pacing myself. Mm-hmm. I've been to many of these. Mm-hmm. How many World Juniors have you covered?
In person, this is my third.
Where are the others?
All from home, or remotely. Buffalo and Toronto. Yeah, Buffalo. Toronto.
Which you're an Ontario guy.
Yeah. So,
right?
The Buffalo one was interesting because instead of getting a hotel, my photographer and I drove from Toronto every single day, which is a pain in the butt. Getting home at 2 in the morning.
And crossing the border and everything.
And then leaving at 7 in the morning. And it's
So this has been a little easier.
I don't have to go anywhere. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
My hotel's down the street. I just kind of show up 20 minutes before first game, stay here till final game. That's it.
So my, not really analyst questions, they're more fan questions. Off the top of your head, and not just Canada, what big name stars aren't here that could be, and how has that impacted the tournament?
Well, obviously, you got the guys like Shane Wright, Owen Power, Cole Perfetti not being here, and Matty Beniers, Jake Sanderson in the United States. Not having Russia, I think, really kind of matters. Obviously, they couldn't be here. That would not be the right thing, but you could tell that as good as the Latvia story was, that they won one game, they're probably not going to win again. Russia would have been a medal contender, and we would have seen Matvei Michkov. So that's obviously...
So they're making the playoffs because Russia's not here, is what you're telling me.
They're making the playoffs because Czechia's goaltending is not good. It's something like Latvia wouldn't have been here in normal circumstance. So that was a cool story. And then Alex Holtz on Sweden was a guy I was really looking forward to watch. And so there's a lot of top quality players. I know that's a big reason why a lot of people don't want to be here, but I think it's also an opportunity for guys to kind of show up and shine. And Carter Mazar from the United States has been, for me, one of the best players in this entire tournament. I didn't think that would be the case. And that wouldn't have been the case if Matty Beniers was here. So this is something where, a lot of top quality players, you could probably make an all-star team of the guys who aren't here. It is what it is.
Of all countries combined.
Yeah.
Because Juraj Slafkovsky, and did you mention him?
There's him, there's Simon Nemec. Slovakia, the reason why they're not playing for a medal is they had 3 first-round picks that all didn't show up.
Right.
And now you got to wonder if they'll be there in 2023.
How has it impacted the quality of hockey?
It's definitely hurt it to a point, but at the same time, it is summer hockey. You have to temper your expectations. The European teams, these guys do play a lot of international hockey in the summer. I believe Slovakia in a normal year will play 2 to 3 exhibition tournaments. So playing in the summer is that's not unusual for them. That's normal. But for teams, like I think the first couple days were pretty rough because the guys were just trying to catch up. It wasn't like everyone got 2-3 exhibition games. Some teams just got one, some got two spread over a while. So it was kind of just catching up. I think it's gotten better over the last couple of days, but we've seen too many blowouts because there just are not enough competitive teams. I think when you still got the top quality players, Canada, USA, Sweden, Finland, those teams have been fun. It's the teams on the bottom. Switzerland just can't score. Slovakia obviously struggled, teams like that. So at the top, it's still competitive. At the bottom, I think that's when you see kind of the damage.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Ellis with us from the Hockey News. And it's interesting. I don't think from our camera shot they can see the country banners, the flags hanging from the ceiling. But I was sitting with the scouts. I haven't really sat with the media hardly at all. And we were kicking around, who's that 10th country that's here because Russia's not? And the scouts didn't entirely know. And somebody said, well, if you look on the one end, it's Latvia because they're the 10th flag. Mm-hmm. Those are in order. Who knew?
That I did not know, so that's cool.
They're all in order, yeah.
But it's cool because like Latvia didn't even win the Division 1A tournament. So like in theory, Russia being pulled out, it should be the team that won Division 1A. Well, that was Belarus, and they're also banned. So Latvia really shouldn't have been here. So them winning that game was...
So let me ask you this. They're in... I didn't even know this. Again, this is fan here, analyst there. Latvia's not making any apologies to anybody, though. And you saw the celebration from them yesterday. That's got to make a guy feel good.
Absolutely. This is a team that, like, let's not forget that they lost Matvei Skivolenkis a couple of years ago or I guess 2021. They lost him to the firework explosion, unfortunately. So that's a country that's gone through a lot, but they also went out a couple years ago and beat Canada at the Men's World Championship. So they do have some reasons to celebrate recently. I think the coolest press conference I've ever been a part of was after that game, and all the players come together. They start hugging each other. There was like 4 or 5 of them all hugging, embracing each other. They were so excited. And Martin Slavin's number 6 on Latvia was just like, he was so thrilled. You look at the Americans, they win against Sweden. That's a big win. And they're like, yeah, we just got to play our game, blah, blah, blah. Martin Lavins is talking about how excited he was to go eat ice cream later in the night. It's like that type of excitement's really cool, and you got to love it for those guys. So it's a good story. And there was a lot of fans there. Like, obviously the crowd support's not been, it's outstanding in this tournament, but the Latvians are always awesome. And there was a lot of them yesterday, and it sounded like a much bigger crowd because they were there. And I love that.
Have they been here through the whole tournament? Because initially there was like 2 people in the crowd waving a Latvian flag, and now it seems like there's way more people. I just feel like they came across the pond because they knew their team was going to make a run here. Yeah,
I've been trying to figure that out, but it seems like every game there's more and more.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because you can't just go and buy like a Latvia jersey around here. That's really hard. I've tried to buy a Latvia jersey. So it's like you got to be basically from there to get one. And there was quite a few yesterday, and that was really cool. So they every tournament, they got great fan support. I felt bad in the 2021 World Championship. They hosted it, but they didn't have fans. They do get to host the 2023 tournament.
It is a special day when our director, Jordan, weighs into the chat. Jordan Blodgett wants to know, and I don't know how he says this, but he says, so rumor has it Stephen dabbles in some iRacing.
Yes, I do.
Do I sniff an RP show iRacing showdown? That's virtual racing for those that don't know. How would he know that?
Because I believe we've had this discussion before, him and I. So yeah, I love iRacing. It's just like racing against a mix of like random people and then actual real race car drivers. And on Monday nights, I get to race with like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Mario Andretti from time to time. So it's like some of the big names, and it's a lot of fun.
Let's set this up. I feel like we need to set this up. So to the Canada team, our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is, who has been Canada's MVP so far in the tournament? Connor Bedard, Mason McTavish, Kent Johnson, or other? 2 questions to you, Stephen. Did we have the top 3 right? Mm-hmm. And who would you vote for in that list?
I'd say, the top 3 for sure. My pick right now would be Mason McTavish. Connor Bedard is playing unbelievable, and we know just how good, I know you know how great he is. But McTavish is just a guy that, it feels unfair that he's in this tournament. It's like, why are they letting this like 26-year-old playing in
It looks
tournament?
like it doesn't.
Yeah, and you should see when he was like 18. He had like the biggest hair, biggest like beard. This guy looked like he was so much older. He's so physically mature, and then you look at how just dominant he plays. He's got a lot of experience already playing pro. He's played in Switzerland. He's played, obviously, in the NHL, AHL, played in the Olympics. So this guy's played in such a high-level competition. I think he's been great. But this is the part where I think we're going to start seeing Bedard kind of really show up. It's like a quiet game for Bedard. It's like at 1 point. That's how good of a player he is. So, but I'm picking McTavish right now.
Is Mason McTavish a big deal in Ontario with hockey fans?
It depends. It's kind of like in Ontario. It's like junior hockey's just not a big thing at all. It's kind of like you love the You love the Leafs or you love the Senators, and the OHL teams are not a huge thing. But when I got to see him play in Hamilton, people really appreciated him. I think because of, hey, we saw him at the World Juniors for a little bit. We saw him at the Olympics. This guy's a big deal. So if you know who he is, you know he's going to be something pretty special.
I find it incredibly hard to believe as a Western Canadian that junior hockey wouldn't be huge anywhere in Canada, but you enjoy coming out to Western Canada where it is a big deal.
I do. I used to live in Calgary, so I love coming out here all the time. Alberta's one of my favorite places. I've been a lot of places out west. So hockey here, junior hockey here is awesome. It's so much cool. Like going to see a Calgary Hitmen game is nothing like you'd see in the OHL. It's a totally different experience. It's like watching an NHL game compared to like a Mississauga Steelheads game where there's like 1,000 people. I commentated a Steelheads game where there was under 100 people. So it's
OHL.
Yeah. And I did a lot of my start in the OJHL too, where it's just you just kind of hope there's enough people there at a game, but it's something where junior hockey's not a huge thing.
Well, while you've mentioned the OJHL, I have the obligatory. I have to pass along Jamie Neugebauer,
good friend of mine,
the Elliot Friedman of the SJHL, said to say hey.
We used to work for Local Blades together. So
so there you go.
He got my North York Rangers job too. So.
Have you stopped sweating yet? You look far more comfortable.
I felt fine from the start.
Okay,
the staircases. If you're ever cold, just hide in there. It's hot.
It is warm in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we go to warm up here at Rogers Place, which I think the locals are getting quite a kick out of the fact that we're so cold here. As I've been reminded, it's a hockey rink, not a shopping mall. Mm-hmm. But still, wow. I guess it's the best ice in the NHL for a reason, right? And it's standing up very well. Have you been doing all these interviews? Are they talking about the ice qualities here at all?
Yeah, for the most part, like the players have good things to say. Like they're playing 3 games a day, which is not usual for
plus practices.
Yeah, plus practices. So this ice is used all day, every day. We haven't had a day off yet. And the ice is doing well. We saw Kent Johnson pulling off the lacrosse goal, and it's like he did that late in the game of the second game of the day, like late in the first period, that is, of the second game of the day. So seems to be working out okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So Canada versus Finland today, 4 p.m. You're sort of covering this far more in depth than me. What's Canada's lineup going to look like for tonight? Obviously, they're going hard after a 4-0 record, so they're dressing the big guns.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of the full lineup. I'd expect Dylan Duran to be back in net, who's been awesome for Canada. I couldn't honestly see any changes in the lineup. I thought Brendan Ottman looked really good on that top line. Joshua Waugh was on there for a little bit, and they moved him down. Ottman coming up there and being like the physical force with Bedard and McTavish. Not that, I don't know if you've noticed, but Bedard's been pretty physical himself in this series, in this tournament, maybe more than usual. And McTavish, we know just how physically strong he is. So Canada's going to rely on that top line a lot, but I think the scoring depth will be key here.
In the chat from some of our viewers, John in Winnipeg says, is there a hockey rink still in the West Edmonton Mall? There is. Mm-hmm. They were figure skating in it there the other day. Hesjan Hobson writes in, hi from Sweden. We should discuss Sweden. Why not if we got viewers in Sweden? Their game last night against the USA. What was your takeaway on that? My
concern for this team, both last night and then kind of going forward, is how is this team going to score? Because Emil Andre's been their defenseman, has been kind of scoring all the goals, and Jesper Wallstad, the goalie, after the game, he said, he was really hard. He said he betrayed his team. It's like he made almost 40 saves. He was the key player in that game. The reason why it was so close near the end, and the coach afterwards well, maybe he's got to score. Jesper Wallstad, when he was 14 years old, scored he became the youngest player, regardless of position, to score in the Swedish U20 League. He beat out Victor Hedman. He's a goalie, so that's what's pretty cool. Sweden just needs their big guns to score, and I don't feel like they're using those guys enough, but we know they're a deep team, they're talented, and they seem to do really well in the round robin and kind of fall apart in the medal round. They might do the opposite this time.
Ted in Red Deer says, love the hockey talk. I think what this tournament is showing is the depth of junior hockey worldwide. Also, is the Michigan goal the same as a slam dunk in basketball? I guess. I don't know where I stand on the Michigan goal. Goalie union member here, card carrying, you too?
Yep.
If somebody tried that on me, I would stand up and slash him in the face. But that's just me.
It's easy to say that until someone actually tries that on you and you don't expect it. It's the thing about it, when Kent Johnson did it was cool, but that was the third attempt of that day. So it's almost becoming a little, I don't know,
blasé. Yeah. They can all do it now. It's not special anymore, in my opinion.
I can do it.
Caleb Sharp in the chat says Canada and USA for the finals. And he says, I want Austria to beat Switzerland. I feel like it's going to be a Canada-USA final, don't you?
I originally said Canada-Sweden, but the way USA is playing, I would not want to face them right now.
John in Winnipeg wants to know who's the best goalie in the tournament. And, hey, I'm not an idiot. I stay at a Holiday Inn Express. I watch TSN. Mike Johnson said last night it's Sweden's goalie.
Yeah.
He's the best goalie in the tournament?
He's the best goalie in the tournament, probably the best goalie prospect in the world right now. He's, a very active 6'6" goalie. He plays like a 6'3" guy. And Carey Price is kind of the... Carey Price and like maybe really good Ben Bishop's kind of what we're looking at there. Mm-hmm. So I like him.
Jeff in Winnipeg says, Rod, Billy Smith, Pedersen. I learned that from my dad. My dad's teammates, because he is a goalie too, his teammates, his defensemen said, don't stand in Jimmy's way because you're going to get it across the ankles, even if you're on the same team as him. Mm-hmm. Get out the way. From the hockey god, watching on YouTube, says, who's an underrated player in this tourney?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to go with... I don't know if we could call him underrated because Carter Mazar, the Detroit Red Wings prospect,
he's scoring,
but he's a guy that I don't think a lot of people really looked at much. I'd say maybe Redmond Savage, a guy that the Americans kind of put in a bottom role, was kind of a shock to make the team. He's more of this grinder guy, and he's been one of the best offensive players, generating a lot of the energy for the Americans.
We have a football question here from Phil in Dauphin, Manitoba. He's watching on Game Plus TV. He says, good morning. Thank God it's Monday, because he wants to talk sports with us. He says, I'm trying to figure out what's more funny, the unnecessary Fajardo hate or the small fringe minority of fans that wanted Mike O'Shea fired for the loss against the Alouettes. Saskatchewan won their game and the Bombers only lost one. Move on and appreciate what you have. Go Bombers. One thing, I can't speak for Bomber fans, but I know Rider fans, they're not happy unless they're not happy. So if you realize that, it makes life a lot more easier to understand. So I appreciate Stephen Ellis sticking with us here for one final segment. I said that you got questions here that I can't answer, so I'm going to put them to you. Nelson, let me back up. BW here in Edmonton in the chat says, how strong is the German team?
This is a German team that's not at full strength. They're missing some guys that decide not to play, but I'd say, this is something where you don't count them out. The Germans are a hardworking group. They've kind of fought their way through this tournament, and I thought their performance against Austria, even though it was Austria, kind of showed that this group has good goaltending, solid defense, and maybe not going to score a lot, but Alexander Blanc is so much fun to watch. So I don't think they're going to go far in this tournament, but they'll make some noise, I think.
I'll tell you something. By the way, it was 2-0 last night with the U.S. leading Sweden, and Serena said, this one's over. And it really wasn't. It ended up 3-2, but this is not typical junior hockey. This is far more closer to NHL hockey than junior hockey. There's not a lot of mistakes being made out there, in my mind.
No, it's because a lot of these guys are going to be in NHL training camps in a few weeks, and I think that's kind of awesome.
Yes. From Victor in the chat, says Toronto is going to be the dark horse for the U.S. Am I saying that right?
Coronado.
Oh, he spelled it wrong. Okay. From Nelson, he says, as far as draft prospects go, whose stock is rising and whose is falling in this tournament?
It's actually tough to say because there's about like 5 really first-year eligible players, and obviously Bedard's kind of doing what he's doing. The guy that's really not impressing me a lot is, anyway, his tournament's over, is Dalibor Dvorsky from Slovakia. We've seen him play some outstanding hockey, potential top 5 pick, and he didn't really do a lot for Slovakia. It was kind of like, of the young guys, he was not one of the players to watch. Adam Sikora was. So I'd say maybe if anyone kind of lost a bit, it'd be him. But if one guy really put his name on the map, Bruno Bruveris, the Latvian goalie, I don't think he'll get drafted, but every game he's played has been fantastic.
Great, yeah. I'll tell you, you mentioned Chechia's goaltending is the reason Latvia is making the quarterfinal, but they played their backup against him yesterday. The kid that played against Canada was unconscious.
So he's technically the backup. Suchanik's because the game against Latvia was very important. So Jan Bednar, the Detroit Red Wings prospect, did not play very well.
Okay, well, the other kid was amazing.
He was very good. And he played good. Well, he stopped every shot he faced last night, too.
Yeah, right. From Rick in the chat, he says, we've been to Rogers Place twice for hockey and a Jack White concert. I'm going to say it's the best rink west of Toronto. Is there an equivalent hotel and restaurant to Calgary's Grey Eagle in Edmonton? Yes, it's called the River Cree Resort and Casino, and I've got tons of friends and family that have come here and are staying there because of their affinity for this show. So River Cree, anytime you're in Edmonton, that's the place you want to go. Andrew Stout says, Bonjour, Rod. I would like to know what Stephen thinks of the Habs draft picks this morning. Merci, Rod. Je t'aime, mon ami. Je t'aime aussi. Andrew, Habs prospects.
Well, I was among the many that was shocked that Shane Wright didn't go first overall.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say Shane Wright is like an attitude problem. I've known him for many, many years. I could tell you that's not a thing. Slavkovsky got the Olympic MVP award. This guy could shoot. He's going to be a really good player for the Montreal Canadiens. He's maybe not the most complete player in that draft, but he's got so much upside. And I think that's something really exciting. And Philip Meshire was picked later. I really wish he was at this tournament. A good friend of Slavkovsky. Yeah, maybe they play together at some point. I think that he's good. Lane Hudson, I was really hoping he played for the Americans. To me, that's my favorite pick in the entire draft. 5'8" defenseman that could, someday maybe put 60 points up a season.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Roy, he's a Habs prospect, is he not?
Yep.
Did you mention him?
No, I didn't. But he's had an up and down the World Juniors, I think. But obviously, he knows how to score.
Why do you think he was taken off that top line?
He wasn't keeping up with them. I think McTavish and Bedard are kind of at a different level, and Waugh is he's a finisher, but they didn't need him to be the finisher. They got two of those already. So you bring in a guy like Ottman who could be a passer. Brendan Ottman used to play with Shane Wright growing up, so he knows how to play with good quality players. I think that fit just made more sense.
As Stephen Ellis said, the fun is just starting now here at the World Juniors. Buddy, thanks so much for coming out.
Absolutely.
This has been great. Stephen Ellis from the Hockey News.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.